Coming to you from sunny California and the Great White North. Get ready. We are breaking down the obstacles on the Armchair Ninja Podcast. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Armchair Ninja Podcast. It is Thursday, March 23rd, 2017. My name is Rich, and joining me for this episode of Yuuji and the Beast is Bijan.
Did you really just do that?
I had to do it.
Oh, man. What a title, though. Yeah, that's definitely got to be our episode title, but shame on you. Shame on you for that dad joke.
When I realized it, I had to use it. I didn't know this was going to be the episode we see him. Did you know that?
No, I was pleasantly surprised, man. I was so ecstatic. Like, at this point, it's getting, you feel like you know the course. You feel like you know the whole point of the show and everything. Like, episode 4, this is where the show's going to slow down, and maybe it might get a little mundane. Nope. Not at all. I was like, Yuji's here. Oh, boy, let's go. And I was so ecstatic to see him. Just as a genuine Sasuke fan, it was so exciting to see him here. And the other pleasant thing is they showed him major respect on this show. It wasn't just like, oh, and next up we have this competitor, Yuuji Urushihara. He's done well in Japan's obstacle courses, but now he has to take on Beast. No, it's like, this dude's legit. He is a legend in Japan. Everybody watch out. Not only that, like, they didn't even have an opening thing with the hosts or anything. It was just straight into Yuji's run and giving him like this long vignette. They knew they had a major star and royalty with them, and they really showed him all the love and support. And I was so happy. Man, this was fun.
Yeah, it was great. So in this episode, we're going to be covering Ultimate Beastmaster Episode 4. We're going to go through some ANW Nation updates we got from the NBC Universal Summer Press Day.
Season 9.
And the ANW Fantasy picks that we have, and we'll be revealing those and kind of figuring out where we're going to stand in this coming season.
The champ is here!
And we'll be talking about how I'm going to take down Bijan in said competition.
Not happening.
As we mentioned, this episode of Ultimate Beastmaster featured Yuuji Urushihara, the only competitor to achieve total victory twice in Sasuke. Like, this guy is legit. All due respect, and I totally agree. I was actually shocked. I feel like they gave him far more respect than the Japanese competitors have ever gotten on ANW, which is really sad to say.
Yeah. Yuuji himself on American Ninja Warrior, when he was on the show, he didn't get as much love and respect that he did on this show, and it was really nice to see. It was dope, and honestly, I hope in season 2, if they bring back like Team Japan, they have other former Ninja Sasuke all-stars, Makata Nagano, somebody like him, could you imagine him on Ultimate Beastmaster? This opens a lot of avenues for a lot of competitors.
Okay, so as you said, they showed him right off the bat. They got right into it at like a totally different format, almost right from the beginning. And he blew through level 1, like totally showed why he got that kind of respect, because he completed the whole course. Now, he didn't hit the point thrusters, which I was kind of surprised with, but at the same time, he had a strategy, he stuck to it, and he beat the course. There's not much you can say to complain about that.
Yeah, I think he was focused more on the threat of the risks. Now, I forget what it's called, but the one where you're on a bridge and holding onto this little like spike ball, that seems like a very easy point thruster, but it seems like he was just mainly focused on completing the course and didn't want to take any risks. And I respect that wholeheartedly because it worked out for him in this stage. And yeah, it was a clinic. That first one, man, he did a full-on Sasuke clinic.
Yeah, and so looking at Team USA, which we always like to kind of cover them being the home team, we had Courtney Joyner, who was a soccer player, and Juan Bernardo, defense attorney / jiu-jitsu master, or whatever the title you want to give him. No carbon copy
Nope.
White guys this time. That's good.
Yeah, I was happy about that. Now, the jiu-jitsu guy kind of came off like a D-bag, right? Like, am I the only one?
Nah, he just seemed competitive. He seemed fine.
Yeah, I guess. To me, like instantly when he's like, I'm so good looking and stuff, I'm like, instantly don't like you. Instantly. But I was so happy to see, as we alluded to, like a cloned, like prototypical, like, it's hard to say, but it's not even that they're like these blonde-haired white dudes or whatever, but it's just they have like the same story, the same build, like everything's the same. And I'm like, bro, give me somebody new. It's like the United States of America. If there is any country in the world that's as diverse as us, like we should have people from all different types of backgrounds. Can't have the same looking dudes every time. So I was just pleasantly surprised with that. Plus he was repping San Diego, so good on him.
Yeah, I think we need a term for those guys. The basic OCR YOLO dudes, the Boyds. We'll just call them Boyds.
I guess so. Now that I think about it, every time I do a Spartan, there are a lot of dudes that look like them. But, there's other peeps as well, so I don't know.
So with the other competitors, was there anybody of note, anybody that really stood out to you?
Marcel, I forget his last name, but this dude that, like, has this really, like, in-depth story dedicating all of his runs in the competition to his late sister who passed away from cancer. I mean, it was a really touching story. And apparently she passed while he was training for this competition. So I could feel for him that, it meant a lot to him. And yeah, I was really rooting for him. He came off like such a nice guy.
He did. He was a tall guy too. He was 6 foot tall. He kind of reminded me like I would expect you to look on the course. Like he was very tall, athletic build, kind of the skinnier side. And it just looked like a lot of the obstacles really easy to him, like because he had such a reach and height advantage over everybody.
Yeah, I feel like Beastmaster fits people of my size more than American Ninja Warrior, and he's just super fit, but in like as you said, different ways than American Ninja Warrior, which is just very forearm grip strength heavy. This show is a little bit more diverse in the palette of skills, but in different ways. I mean, American Ninja Warrior is also the same of diverse. Now, Marcel, the one thing that also stood out to me is like when I saw him, I was like, this guy looks like I feel like I've seen him before, and I couldn't put my finger on it. I was like, is he a Ninja Warrior? Did I see him in some competitions or whatever? No. He's the video game champion. I forgot what it was from. I think it was Street Fighter that they said before. But yeah. I saw him in the World Championships because I'm a video game nerd, and I was like, "That's who that is, man." He's kind of known for wearing hoodies when playing the video games, and yeah, just overall, I was really rooting for this guy for many reasons. Repping the nerds, repping the OCR folks. He's also representing parkour athletes. I mean, overall, really good guy, and I was really rooting for him.
Yeah, I thought you might be.
Just a bit.
Yeah, he seemed like somebody you would root for. I didn't have anybody that kind of stood out to me all that much this time. Yeah, I mean, I liked a couple of them.
Dude, there was one person that really stood out to me that wasn't even Marcel. How could you not root for it? Let me get his name.
I was definitely rooting for Yuuji more than anybody. But I like Taeho Kwon.
That's him. That was the one. I was like, dude, Taeho Kwon might have stole this whole show or this episode. This dude was so fun.
Yeah, he was pretty good, but there were some weird moments with him that I was put off a little bit, I guess. Not so much, his personality at times rubbed me wrong. I don't know why exactly, but he was overall good. He's a model, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's like a bodybuilding model, like a fitness model. He's like jacked and like not in a bulky, muscular way, but just like a ripped, like I guess super handsome way. But honestly, it didn't rub me the wrong way. It wasn't like, oh, I'm so hot, I'm so full of myself, blah, blah, blah. It was more that he was so passionate about representing his country. And his whole story was, even though I'm an actor and famous in South Korea and everything, and I'm super fit, I want to represent South Korea. I want to show the world that South Koreans can win this show and win competitions like this. And I really felt for his story. And I don't know, he really came off like a nice guy, or like he really was able to sell to the camera every moment because he has a background in acting. I mean, you can always tell that he was always playing to the camera in a really fun way. For me, it wasn't this like cookie cutter competitor that's just focused on the course, nothing else. And sometimes that could sound bad, but I found that he was really fun playing to the camera the entire time. It reminded me a lot of Levi Muenberg from early American Ninja Warrior, where every once in a while he'd show a little bit of flair and everything. And also, he reminds me of Jake Murray, you know, just always playing to the camera and being fun. So I really liked the guy. How'd you feel about the runs? Like, anything stand out other than Yuji's run in stage 1?
I think my favorite part of round 1 was after USA got knocked out for the first time.
No more USA chants. Woo!
Brazil comes and starts giving them heck for it. It was pretty funny.
Dude, that was that's the other thing about this episode. You could tell that the hosts are getting much more comfortable around each other in this episode, and I like that. I hope it continues with this like friendly competition and camaraderie where like Team USA was like, you know what, we're out. We are now like Terry Crews was like, I am now all Team Germany, and I forgot what Team Carissa chooses, but it's like I really like that. All the teams or the hosts, they're going like to the other booths and they're like celebrating or teasing each other. I found that really fun, and once again adds another dynamic to the show.
Yeah, it was great all around. I loved all of them. They were going into each other's booths constantly through the whole episode.
Yeah, it was so fun. I loved it.
Oh, the only other thing to mention from level 1 that's definitely stood out in this episode is the rope was like a whole other obstacle, basically. They switched out the chain for a rope, and it was just destroying people's hands left and right.
Yeah, that was a big modification, and it's such a slight tweak, but man, did it make a difference. I mean, a lot of people, honestly, most of the field fell just in that one part trying to jump and grab onto that rope, and you could see the damage that did on all the competitors' hands, which I honestly don't mind. I mean, it was a really cool dynamic, and it played an important part in the later stages with a lot of the competitors having bandaged hands. So I liked it.
Yeah, it was brutal.
With that said, I would never, ever want to do that obstacle.
Yeah, forget that.
Yeah, my hands are like, nope, you better not. But it's pleasant to see, so good on them.
So moving on to level 2, I don't know. Sometimes I see things happening on this show and I can't tell if they modified it or if I just wasn't paying attention before. Was Spinal Ascent always moving like that?
What are you talking about?
So the platforms where they jump up at the beginning of the whole deal, they're going up and down.
You never noticed that? That was the entire show's been like that, bro.
I am so dumb sometimes. I'm like the least observant person. Why am I even talking about these things when I don't notice the most fundamental things that they're doing?
Yeah, that's why they always wait, you know, because they have to time it to get up at a certain platform. Yeah, it's always been like that.
Yeah, genius. It's funny to see like the tall guys just blitz through that, and the shorter competitors have to wait and then struggle to get up from each level to level. I feel so bad for them.
Yeah, that's one of those, like, oh, it must suck to be short on the show sometimes. Because, like, they're the one thing about this show that's very different than American Ninja Warrior is American Ninja Warrior, they offset a lot of the gaps with trampolines. I remember I always complained about the butterfly wall and its gap. With this show, in every stage, it seems like there's always this transitional gap that really adheres or like is really made for somebody that can jump really far or have a longer reach. And I hope that's one thing they address in season 2, where they modify some of these obstacles where it might be just a little bit, I guess, easier or more fair towards shorter competitors. With that said, I haven't seen any obstacles where it's so drastic where I can like blow the whistle or anything like that. But it is something that I've noticed.
Yeah, they have to do these big jumps across like stomach churn, but once they get into the digestive tract, that height really plays against them. So I guess there's a trade-off there.
Yeah, good point. I mean, if you're like 6'5" in that digestive tract, you're going to have a bad time. So stage 2, man, I mean, the one thing we have to talk about is Yuuji Urushihara's run. I mean, how heartbreaking was that?
Yeah, I don't want to talk about it.
He was doing so well. I mean, you were talking about Spinal Ascent and how some people struggle with it, right? Yuuji Urushihara killed that obstacle. He was doing phenomenal. I mean, you could tell this dude, even though he's a little bit older, it really shows his commitment to training and how comfortable he is on these obstacles. He was just doing great. But he slips up that one small mistake. And of all the things, the bungee cords, which honestly hasn't even been an obstacle to all these competitors at this point. How heartbreaking was it to see him fall at that?
It was gut-wrenching. Like, I really didn't expect him to... I just figure we would have probably heard by now if he conquered the whole thing. So I was kind of expecting a slip up, but not on Spinal Descent. Of all places, that seemed like a really, really bad place to have a slip up.
At this point, the cumulative points really played a part, and at that point, all I was doing is looking at the points for every competitor. I'm like, is Yuuji going to make it to stage 3 and have a chance? Is he going to make it? Because he really didn't make very many points in stage 2. But the good part is that he did so well in stage 1, and I think that's one component of the show that actually does work well, where it's like, you can do really poorly on stage 2 and still have a chance because you did so well in stage 1. I like that, where early successes still play a part. It's not just something that's overlooked.
Yeah, so you're not completely out of the game, but it had him on the bubble, and I thought for sure he was going to knock it out there when they had that last guy run. I thought there's no way this guy has got him, and luckily he did survive through. So we did have Yuuji and get to see him move on to level 3.
Mm-hmm. And how brilliant! Like for me, I was more than anything else, I was just so impressed by the fact that whoever edited this episode really knew that probably a good portion of the audience watching this knew who Yuuji was, or even if you're a casual fan, the way they introduce this guy, it's like, Yuji's big, and we should probably pay attention to him. And they started with Yuuji, and you knew the points that he had to make. So every run after Yuuji's, all you're doing is looking at the points, and it made every person's run even that more invigorating. You really had to pay attention. I was on the edge of my seat every moment of that. So in a way, it sucks that Yuuji fell so early, but it really made the rest of the episode really, really invigorating because he was always on that bubble.
Yeah, I was definitely completely engrossed, especially with that by the time I got to the last guy and he was sitting on the bubble and I didn't know if he was going to get far enough. I was totally engrossed. Yeah, good editing job. Good point.
Yeah. I mean, the only sucky part was I was actively rooting against people, and I felt really bad for that. But I was like, it's Yuuji, man. I'm sorry, but you all got to go. It's Yuuji.
There was only one part that I actually shouted out loud, though, and that was when the South Korean guy, Jung Suk-kim, I believe it is, walked off the back of the platform on the Spinal Ascent.
Yeah.
Oh my God,
scary.
I actually let out a yell, like, ah! Like, what the heck? Oh, no, catch it.
Isn't it so, like, at that point, I was so happy that they're connected to wires or whatever on that part, because that could have been really bad if he wasn't connected to something to hold him up.
Yeah. It was so if you didn't watch the episode, what we're describing is the Spinal Ascent is like platforms. They have to jump from one to the next, working their way up. And this guy fell backwards back onto the one he was just on, and then started walking backwards to kind of get a run, and didn't pay attention to where his footing was and fell off the backside of it. It was really, really scary for a second.
Yeah, if he wasn't connected to a wire, he would have totally fell on his neck. Totally.
So the big story of level 2, though, has to be Taeho Kwon.
Yes, we finally saw somebody complete it, huh?
Yeah. So he does the splits to hit the point thruster. That was very cool.
Yeah, that was pretty impressive.
And then he managed to make it to the vertebrace, which we haven't seen. And then he completed. He actually ended up beating the whole level. Like, awesome job.
Dude, I love this guy. And yeah, he made it look pretty easy. I mean, the big thing about him is he didn't make the same mistake a lot of the competitors did, where they go on these little rope swings late into the stage and go for this really hard point modifier. And it's like, I'm looking at him like, that's a mistake. But I have a feeling a lot of these competitors are seeing stage 2 for the first time, just think they can do it. But they, like, the way you have to climb these ropes and swing from one to another, it takes a lot of energy. So I'm glad he went straight for the little spine vertebrae things and was able to get to him. I was super impressed by him.
And his technique on the chains was great, because we've seen so many of them.
Oh yeah,
try to build up momentum. Go get both hands onto the next one, and then try to build up momentum. Like, you're not going to get through that way. You've got to use the one before to give you a good swing to the next and make your way through it.
Yeah, good point. I mean, this guy was very smart in how he was handling the obstacles.
Yuuji survives to level 3, and
Barely.
level 3 was a mess. Like, really, when you get down to it.
Yeah, I mean, hang on. I just saw the reactions of everybody on. I'm watching the reaction to everybody celebrate Quan, I think is his name. Yeah, Teo Kwan's completion of stage 2, and it is simply amazing. I mean, at one point, you see everybody, like a panel of like all 6 of them, and they're all celebrating, and then they zoom into Team USA's booth, and there's nobody to be found. Right. And they were so perfect with the timing because they hold on to it for like a good 5 seconds of just like blank. You're like, where are they? And then you see them in South Korea's booth, and they're like just celebrating with Team South Korea, who are already the stars of this show, and they're just dancing and singing and freaking out. It was so funny, guys. Even if you don't watch the show, you have to find this clip. It is amazing.
There were so many, like the judges are really, really engaging at times. Right into level 3, right off the bat, my first notes are about the judges from Team Brazil, because Marcel screws up on the first obstacle. He jumps off the ejector, and he wasn't able to hold on to the ropes. And the comments by the commentator were hilarious. He was like, "Grab it, hold it, for the love of God!" Like he was so beside himself.
Yeah, it was so good. I forget if it's later on in this stage, but they like kind of sneak into like Team Germany or Team Germany's host booth, and they're like dancing and sneaking around and like talking crap to them. Yeah. So fun.
Yeah, it was all good. So we had 2 people fall on the ejector, actually right on the treadmill. Eduardo fell on it and just completely flubbed it. But the one that really was shocking to everybody was Yuuji ended up falling twice. Basically, he fell, got back up, and then missed the jump. It was not a shining moment for sure.
Yeah, both Yuuji and another competitor fell on like jumping onto this, I guess, ejector thing, treadmill. I guess that treadmill must be going really fast because they're whiffing it each time.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was brutal to see, man. I mean, of all the, it's hard because when you see your favorite competitors that you can do so much, it really sucks to see them go out on something like, just mistiming a jump on a treadmill. But at the same time, I mean, that's the name of the game. You have to be ready for even the smallest of transition obstacles. But it still sucks. It's kind of like Jeff Britton last season falling out on the first, obstacle where it's just a transition where he's overlooking it. I mean, it happens all the time, but it still sucks. You kind of want to see them, what they can do.
Yeah, it was hard to see. Even the other countries, it was kind of funny to see that they were reacting. They were upset and disappointed as well.
I think Yuuji was beloved by all the competitors and all the hosts on this show. They knew who he was, and I think all of them were actively rooting for him.
Yeah. So even the person that went the furthest here, Tejo, he was looking really good, but he ended up taking the bonus route and falling and losing 40 points. I mean, it was just not a good level 3 episode at all.
No, but that's just how it goes. But one thing is, they spelled throughout the entire episode, I don't know if you caught this, but they spelled Yuuji with just one U. And it kind of irked me. I'm like, his name's spelled 2 U's, right? So at this point, I'm not sure which is which. I'm pretty sure his name is spelled Yuuji. And I know that's super nitpicky fanboy, but I was like, who's making the mistake here? Is it like everything that I've always seen from Ninja Warrior and Wikipedia and everything, or is it this show that's misspelling it because I feel like, I don't know. It was just one thing that I noticed, and every time I saw it, I'm like, what's going on with that?
So moving on to the finals, we had Taeho Kwon versus Philip Meyer. That is South Korea versus Germany.
We never even spoke about Philip Meyer.
Poor guy.
I think that's how, he's got a decent story and all, but it's like...
He does. So we haven't mentioned him, like you said. He's a German dancer and soldier, right? So it was pretty interesting. And he had the beret on, which I liked. But you know what I kept thinking is I was in the Canadian Reserves. They would not like that at all. You are not supposed to wear just a part of your uniform. You either wear all of it properly or you don't wear any part of it.
I mean, you would know.
So I don't know if they have the same rule and he's going to get in trouble when he gets back. Probably not.
I seriously doubt it's a big deal. But I have to say his breakdancing skills are on point. I mean, he was doing some really, not just breakdancing on the show, but he was able to stop and hold himself up, do some very fitness-heavy not gymnastic, but dance moves. With that said, I mean, this was pretty cool. matchup, I must say. South Korea versus Germany. Both teams or countries already have somebody in the finals, so one of these countries was going to get a number 2 in the finale, which was very interesting for me. And I don't know, it was kind of a blow, almost like it wasn't a complete blowout like last episode, but towards the end it kind of became that.
Yeah, he pulled away towards the end, but leading into it, what were your thoughts? Did you think one was going to run away with it, or did you think it was going to be close?
I thought it was going to be close, and I was actively rooting for Taeho Kwon just because I loved just seeing him up to this point and how comfortable he was in front of the camera and how impressive he was. I really liked the guy, but I honestly didn't have any problems with the Green Beret guy either. I mean, he's a cool guy, so I don't know. Both of them were both stand-up guys, both guys that I was, would be happy with in the finals, but I gotta say, at this point, Team South Korea is just winning my heart, so I'm just actively rooting for them so much. If it's not USA, man, South Korea all the way.
Yeah, so in the end, Philip Meyer ended up winning, so he is the Beastmaster for this episode. He moves on to the finals, meaning Germany now has 2 Beastmasters that are going to be competing for Ultimate Beastmaster title.
Yeah, and so far, I mean, a lot of the German competitors on the show have been very impressive. I mean, even the ones that have lost, we've seen a lot of young studs from Team Germany killing it. So yeah. I don't know, Germany, they got their stuff together.
Yeah, for sure. They've really stood out. I was thinking the exact same thing. Team Germany really brought some strong competition. I don't know if they're all front loaded. Maybe it'll kind of die off as we go through, but they're having strong showings right across the board. Yeah,
and I am more than happy with that.
So moving on, let's take a look at this NBC Universal Summer Press Day. So on ANW Nation, they posted an article which summarizes some of the things we learned from this press day that they had. Basically, it was like a big press conference, I guess. Bijan, take it away. Let's hear what we learned.
Well, going from the top, I mean, the one thing, it's not too big of a discussion for us, I guess, but there were over 77,000 applications for Season 9, which just speaks to how much this sport and show is booming. It's just growing more and more, and it's really, when you actually think about it, that's a lot of applications for this show. A whole lot. I mean, you think Survivor, Amazing Race, all that stuff, I seriously doubt they get anything close to 77,000 people for one season. That's insane. All applications for this season were up 20% for women, which means you see just a booming interest from women athletes from around the country in this show. And I think you're going to see more and more of that trend. Obviously, the show skews very heavy towards families and children and everything, but I think one thing that stands out more than anything else when it comes to the earlier seasons and more modern American Ninja Warrior is the interest in women. When I go to Ninja Warrior gyms or, people talking about it, I see a lot more interest from women. And I think that's really, really cool to see. And I'm just so excited to see just new female faces that are just going to be killing it in these competitions.
Yeah, I think the only barrier left at this point is sheer volume of competitors, right? So the more women we have, the higher the caliber of women there will be, and we'll see them, we'll see a more equal representation in Vegas without wildcards, I think.
Yeah, good point. I'm very curious how they're going to do wildcards this year. I think they're going to choose the wildcards based on the results of all the qualifiers and just seeing how many female competitors got so close compared to a lot of the returning favorites getting close on the male side. I think there might be a mix of male and female this year. Now, another thing that is really interesting in the next part, which I think stands out to me the most, is there's going to be a mix of 50-50 returning and new competitors. So only half the competitors that we are even familiar with are going to be featured in this upcoming season. And then another 50% is going to be all new competitors, which I have different feelings about, honestly, Rich, because we have all of our favorites, right? We never want, or at least I don't ever want a David Campbell situation again where he's getting the shaft. I mean, that is just sacrilegious to me. But at the same time, I really want to see a lot of new fresh faces. I need another Najee Richardson and competitors like him, that just really just blow my mind. I mean, Jeff Britton completed the entire show on his second season alone. So sometimes having a lot of new fresh faces is a really big boom. At the same time, the thing that worries me is that we're going to see a lot of people that we're familiar with get the shaft. And I'm just really curious how selective they are and how smart they are at choosing the returning competitors again this year. I haven't heard much controversy yet, though.
Yeah, I think we would have heard by now. So far, so good. But I mean, all the calls haven't gone out. We'll see. We'll see if anyone major gets skipped that we're expecting.
Mm-hmm. But I right now I'm leaning towards thumbs up on that. But we'll see. I have a sneaking suspicion somebody's just gonna make me lose my damn mind. Like, I'm like, Drew Drexel, he's not chosen this year. What? Drew Drexel guarantees running, but you know what I mean.
Riots in the streets. Yeah, riots.
Yeah. Other than that, there's some other things. I'll fly through them. They expect, like, every season for a walk-on, from the walk-on line to become a breakout star. And just from the tapings that I saw of the LA qualifiers, we are definitely going to see some people from the walk-on line really make an impact. That's all I'll say on that, but really impressive walk-on stars. And, honestly, the walk-ons are the diehards of the diehards that may not have some crazy uber sad story to be featured, but they are super dynamic athletes that have been training for a long, long time. So I think walk-ons are actually a really good opportunity to see some of the more diehard fans and competitors that have been training for the sport. And I'm really happy that they have walk-on lines. So another thing is, during this upcoming season, remember when they had that fan competition where you can design your own obstacles? You remember that, Rich?
Yep, definitely do.
Well, 6 obstacle designs were inspired by those fan submissions. So that's really cool by the fact that not only do we get to see that whole fan interaction thing in practice, but I'm really curious to see just how, like, creative and how hard and tough and everything else that I can't even think of any more synonyms, but you know what I mean. I'm very curious what though will be made from those, I guess, submissions and suggestions.
Yeah, the 6 is crazy. I really had no idea they would pick that many. I thought maybe 1 or 2.
I was thinking that same.
Yeah, I would have been surprised with 2, but 6 is intense. That's awesome.
Mm-hmm. And boy, am I getting old, because at this point, kids that started watching at around the age of 15 are old enough to compete now. Oh, geez.
And that's with modern ANW. That's with, like, NBC ANW. That's
because I started watching Ninja Warrior, like Ninja Warrior, when I was like 12. I am not anywhere near my early 20s anymore. But that's really cool to see still that a lot of the, if anything, this show really plays heavily towards younger fans. And I feel like, and they even speak to it in this article, where it's like a lot of the youth in this country are going to be growing up with this show and training for it. And we're going to see a lot of new fresh faces in their freshman efforts do really, really well, because they've been really, I guess, interested and involved with this entire sport for many, many years, preparing for this competition. So I'm expecting another Josh Levin this year, honestly.
Yeah, we've had some crazy good rookies over the years, but yeah, it could be a whole other level coming up, because when you look at who we had on College Ninja Warrior, I mean, that was insane. You put those guys on the course, there's no reason to think that they won't crush it on there as well.
Go Team MIT, man. All of them.
Anything else from there?
I mean, no, it was just more of them talking about the show, but those were some of the main points that Nikki pointed out that really I thought were worth discussing. They also had a trailer for season 9, honestly, and it was pretty cool. It got me amped. I mean, it was a lot of footage from previous seasons, but just seeing everybody, like, just the grandeur of them highlighting all of the highlights of last season, it was really cool, and it really got me amped.
Yeah, it's a good hype promo. I mean, they haven't even got footage from most of the cities yet. There's not much they can show at this point, but it was definitely a very cool promo trailer. We'll be linking in the show notes, of course. And yeah, I liked it a lot.
Mm-hmm.
So let's move on. Let's get to this. Yeah, let's see where we stand going into this season for ANW Fantasy Picks, because there's a lot of people coming to take you down this year, Bijan.
That's fine. Nobody will.
So
but hold up. I need to do a little thing. Hold up. All right. So, stemming, coming to you live, we have the 2016 ANW Fantasy Champion. And guess who that is, Rich? None other than Armchair Ninja Podcast, Bijan, coming to you with his 2017 picks.
Very nice.
The champ has arrived.
All right, champ. I know we've probably got a couple to say, but I deliberately went out of my way to pick some definitely not long shots, but maybe the ones that I think you may not have selected and a lot of people may not have selected. So let's see what you got.
All right, my number 5, going from bottom to the top. My number 5 pick on my draft is none other than our last guest on the show, Ian Dory. Ian Dory, I think, is going to make a comeback this year. He had kind of a slump last year, but this dude's been so fantastic previous seasons. He's gotten so close to stage 4. He always does well. He's always making it at least a stage 3, other than last year, But I feel like that is going to be just on his mind, and he is just going to amp up his training nonstop. Plus, he's been involved with the Wolfpack Ninja Tour, so he's been training a whole lot on different obstacles and getting meticulously involved with just the science of the obstacles. I think he is coming for a major impact this upcoming season.
Yeah, Ian's a fantastic pick. I can't even argue against that. I keep struggling with why I didn't pick Ian, but all right. Here's my answer to Ian. I have none other than rookie sensation Najee Richardson.
I knew it, man. Najee. I can't hate on that either. What a great pick. Najee has been so fantastic, right?
He has. I think he's due to... He had a breakout year last year, but I think he's going to take it even further. We've seen him tearing it up in the NNL. I feel like he can do it. I feel like he won't let the pressure get to him of, the returning season. I think he's going to totally dominate, and I'm really excited to see what he can do.
We got a really good look at what he can do in the skills challenge and the friendly competition that they had beforehand, where he was just beast moding stage 2 and stage 3, man. He was very, very impressive. A lot of the question marks about him were answered in that special. And I think that more than even his season last year really showed just how impressive he was. So very good pick. I'm high up on him.
All right, who do you got? Who do you get next?
All right, so number 4, I got none other than last year's breakout sensation in Los Angeles, Josh Levin. Now, the reason I am really, really high up on Josh Levin and have been this whole time is because he's grew up as a fan and he's been training for American Ninja Warrior for years. He really stands out to me. I'm very high up on these very young competitors that have been like super fans that have been training for a long time. He's going to be very familiar with a lot of the obstacles, and he is just built perfectly for this show. Not only does he have a great background in rock climbing, but he's super young in terms of athleticism, and I think his sophomore year is going to be his breakout year. I think we might be seeing the next, not necessarily Jeff Britton, but somebody that's going to go very, very, very far in his second time around. I think a first season was a lot of nerves. I think now he's going to be a lot more comfortable, kind of like Najee for you, and I think he's going to do phenomenal.
All right, so you've got a solo finisher from the LA region. And I've got my answer to that is Nicholas Coolidge.
Yes.
Another solo finisher. And I think
underappreciated.
Someone who is long overdue. He's going to conquer the whole thing and have his stage 4 run fast forwarded probably. But it doesn't matter. He will be the champion. I feel like Nicholas is primed to take this down.
That's interesting. If there's somebody that actually has a very good shot at winning the show that just doesn't get enough screen time, it's Nicholas Coolidge. And wow, was he impressive, right? When he in that special, I mean, he was so comfortable in stage 3 that gives a lot of people grief. I mean, this guy was so comfortable. And if you look at his Instagram and everything, I mean, this dude's doing some crazy out there fitness things with a lot of acro yoga and just traveling the world. You can definitely tell that when it comes to mind's sake, he's very comfortable. He's at peace. He doesn't let the stage or anything get to him. So, yeah, I mean, mentally, I don't even have to worry about him. Physically, I don't have to worry about him. I mean, this guy is very primed to do very well, and he might actually have to force the producers to actually feature him on the show. I mean, we might actually have a winner on this show where you don't even know you actually have to hear about it because they just won't air him. How crazy is that, dude? But Nicholas Coleridge, very good pick.
So who's your next on your list?
Next up is Daniel Gill, and as you guys can tell, I'm kind of skewing young for these guys because I'm very high up on the new All-Stars, so to speak, in American Ninja Warrior. Daniel Gill, he's been very impressive the last few seasons, and you can't sleep on just how far he's gotten last year. This guy, even though he's kind of doing dancing and stuff now, he still works at Sam San's gym, from what I understand. He still trains very often, and it's just something about him, man. He's just so good. Now, the thing that kind of worries me is sometimes he kind of overlooks a lot of the obstacles, and that might bite him in the butt sometime. He might have a Jeff Britton thing where he kind of fails at the beginning of a stage, but he hasn't failed me yet, so I can't sleep on the guy. I think he is going to get deep into stage 3 and build up them points for me.
Yeah, he had a phenomenal year last year. I think of the world of him. Like, we're doing terrible at trash talking, by the way, because we both love all these guys, so it's kind of hard, but
it's not about trash talk, man. Everybody we pick are going to be high level.
Yeah. We're celebrating it with each other until, one of us starts to pull ahead of the other in the points, then it'll be trash talk time.
I mean, I'm going to win. But,
We'll see. I'd like to point out that I was not far off last season. You were
far
very,
off
very
from
lucky.
Me. You were very far off from me.
No.
Don't even try to front, bro. I was at the very, very, very top, and you were like kind of in the middle.
Tied for third. I don't think that's that bad.
You're not number 1, bro.
Coming for you. So,
where the hell's that damn song?
So my answer to your...
Tell me, you got this song, huh? You got this playing in your intro? No, you don't.
So my answer to your Daniel Gill is none other than the Genie Ninja Thomas Stillings.
I was very curious if you're going to choose Stillings or not. Okay. Now, Stillings, great pick.
I had to. Thomas has had 2 great seasons in a row, and I think he's just getting better, and I feel like he's going to really, really be in his own this year. I'm really excited to see what he can do.
Yeah. So Stillings, I am very high up on him, especially for the first 2 stages. I'm very curious how well he's going to do in stage 3. He's one of those question marks for me because the way his build is and everything we've seen, he's going to be very good at a lot of the parkour lower body obstacles. I think it is going to be very easy for him to get through the first 2 stages. I think he's going to learn from his mistakes in the salmon ladder. I think that's where he fell, or was it the wave runner? I forget. But stage 2, I think he's got. I'm just very curious how well he'll do in stage 3, but just like Daniel Gill, dude's been training his butt off. He is a hardcore fan, and boy, am I rooting for him. I think that is a great pick.
All right. So after him, I really would be surprised if we don't have the same
I think we have the same 2.
We probably do.
It's the 2 that I always choose, and I always will until they fail me, man. So number 2 is none other than Team Ninja Warrior champion, Brian Arnold. Dude is fantastic. And I think of all the top echelon ninjas, I think he might be the most underrated for people. Boy, does this guy, people sleep on just how far he gets every single season. This dude is so hardcore good. In my opinion, he's the top of the pack with the Wolf Pack. He has got such good form strength. He is so hardcore in his training. I mean, he built a damn rock climbing wall in his house. This dude is no joke. And I have to say, man, I think he might be the guy that might win the entire show. He has it all there.
Yeah, I can't even argue. But at the same time, I don't have him. I don't have him on my team.
Really?
I don't know why.
Okay, there's going to be a differential.
Yeah.
I was not expecting this.
So I'm really shocked.
Can I guess who you chose?
Sure.
I'm guessing you chose Joe Morosky.
Yeah, I'm shocked Joe did not make your team.
Dude, okay, so for my for my fifth pick, I had the hardest time choosing between Joe Moravsky, Ian Dory, and Nicholas Coleridge. It was so hard for me to choose between those guys, but I wanted to stay young with the three of my picks, so I didn't choose Joe. But boy, do I think he's going to get far in this competition. Great pick on your side. I'm very happy at least one of us chose him.
Yeah, because Joe is so consistent. You know, he went out a little earlier last season, but I mean, oh my God, you can't argue with hitting stage three times in a row. That's ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't want to be bland on my picks.
And
you know what I mean?
That was basically what I thought. Is there were so many, and no disrespect to the Wolfpack at all. Love them to death, and I think Ian and Brian are fantastic picks that could very well take the whole thing down. But I just wanted some to vary it up a bit. I wanted to make sure ours would be different from each other's. I didn't expect us to be this different, but that's great.
I think these two guys are going to be the differentiators between us. I mean, the young guns will be something, but I have a feeling both are going to do well, but one's going to get way further than the other, if that makes any sense. Like, I feel like one of these two competitors between Brian Arnold and Joe Moravsky might have a chance at getting to stage 4.
It's going to be an interesting season. I don't think we're going to be that close. One of us is going to pull ahead quite a bit. I think we got our bases covered, though. I think one of us is going to be near the top.
Yeah, I think it's pretty safe to say we both have the same pick for number 1, but
yeah.
I mean, there's honestly only one after Jeff Britton retired, but yeah, that's very interesting that we differentiated on that. But I had a really hard time not choosing Joe Moravsky. I kept putting him back on my list and then off my list and on my list, and I ended up not having him on there. But I'm very happy you chose for him, and yeah, I think this might be his year as well.
Yep. And then the guy who stands above all others, Drew Dressel.
Yep.
Who just keeps getting better and better and better to the point of just being ridiculous at this point.
Yeah, he's very much becoming the American version of Makoto Nagano. I feel like David Campbell used to fit that role. In many ways he is, but I feel like David Campbell's kind of sliding more into the role of Mr. Sasuke. And I don't mean that with any disrespect. I just feel like that's going to be his role when history looks back at him. But I feel like Drew Dressel is going to be the next Makoto Nagano, where it's this guy that always gets so close and is like the super fan that everybody loves and gets closer and closer and closer. And then eventually he finally makes it, and it's going to be such a huge crowning achievement. And I think this upcoming year is going to be his year. He won National Ninja League. He's just killing it in all the competitions. He got I believe, the furthest last year in Sasuke. I mean, this guy's been killing it. He's in the prime of his career and training. I think he is very, very, very primed to win this entire show.
Yeah, I think they have to design the course at this point around him above anybody else. They want to make sure that they're challenging him. Otherwise, he's just going to blow through the whole thing.
For a lot of competitors, you can always point to one single weakness that they might have. With Drew Dressel, there is no weakness. I can't think of a single one. So, yeah, all around, he's the guy.
All right, so that's our picks. Let us know what you think. Let us know your picks. We can't see everybody's yet. I think they don't actually release the full listing of everybody's until all the regions are done. So we'll see it eventually, but if you disagree with our picks, if you think we missed somebody key, let us know. We'd be really interested to see what you thought.
If you try to talk crap about my picks, I will point you in the direction of the results of last year.
Ditto. We're both picking some pretty high up there competitors that did really well last year. There's no real stretches there.
Yeah, but I think we are taking some gambles with some of our picks. It's not just super bland. It's not...
Right.
I can probably name off the top of my head what we got. Drew Dressel, Brian Arnold, Flip Rodriguez, like blah, 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 blah. You know, it's like all the guys that you can think of, right? Like, I think we've got some up-and-comers that kind of differentiate us. And I think that's a good way of doing it. You got to gamble to get the furthest.
Yeah. And I came so close to putting Jessie Graff on my list. She had a really good score last season. She did so well.
Yeah.
She would be actually a solid pick for any team.
She'd be great, man, and I'm really rooting for her. I want to see her complete stage 2, and then I would be more than happy. Like, I'll be very comfortable, picking her. but I have to see her get to stage 3 at least to get on my list for a fantasy rankings. With that said, I mean, if they're out of all the women, I have to say Jessie Graff is my top pick, and I'm really rooting for Megan Martin, but I have to say she's like number 3 right now because I am very, very high on Jessie Flex Lebrec at this point, and I think she is really going to stand out this year.
So that is it for this week. Thank you all for listening. If you'd like to be included in our 100th episode celebration, send us your audio or video to rich@ninjapodcast.com before March 31st to be included. And if you'd like to reach us on Twitter or Instagram, we are @ninjapodcast. And Bijan, how can they reach you?
First of all, just remember, guys, you can record it on like a cell phone or something. You don't have to be super fancy. I know a lot of people have been hitting us up being like, do I need a recorder or something? Nah, guys, keep it simple, keep it easy. Cell phone's fine. Send it the file. All right, hit me up at Bijan151. That is Bijan 151 at Twitter and Instagram.
All right, thank you all for listening, and I hope you have a great week.
Peace, y'all, and just remember, the champ is here!
I'm Noah Kaufman, the Ninja Doc.
And I'm Ian Dory
From the Wolfpack Ninjas on American Ninja Warrior. We want to tell you a little bit about a great event that we're putting on to benefit the Children's Hospital of Colorado.
We have a full-scale Ninja Warrior course for professional ninjas, but also for kids.
We've got Megan Martin, Jessie Graff, Joe Moravsky, Jeff Britton, just to name a few. Come out April 29th and 30th to the Wolfpack Ninja Tour.
With more than $30,000 cash and prizes.
Check us out at wolfpackninjatour.com.